welcome back to another episode of Exploring Arkansas. Today, for episode 4, we are going to be taking a load of petrol all the way from Texarkana, where we ended last episode, to El Dorado, to a what looks like a rent-a-car company. And if you've been following us from episode 1 and you've watched episode 2 and you watched episode 3, you'll know that the audio quality was highly questionable. I think I've got the mic that requires you to be pretty darn close to it to actually sound decent. And I don't know, with me, I'm pretty sure it's similar to you guys, especially if you use a wheel. Whenever you're driving and talking, you just have a natural tendency to become very relaxed, very calm. And so I think, even though I know I'm recording, even though obviously I know I'm meant to be speaking into a mic, I kind of just chill. And sometimes the result of that isn't great, and I end up sounding all sorts of weird. So yeah, from this episode moving forward, I've decided that instead of recording live, I'm let me just say instead. I'm instead going to take my time driving peacefully, calmly, not saying much. As you can see in the wheel cam, there's not really any hand movement, which you'd have probably become familiar with from my previous videos. And then do the recording after the fact, which is something I've actually been a little bit skeptical about, if I'm being totally honest. I've always thought to myself that it kind of takes away from the realness or like the rawness of the experience. But I thought I'd give it a go anyway. I'm feeling rather confident about it. At the end of the day, I'm speaking as I'm literally watching the gameplay, because how else am I gonna, sync everything up? So yeah, and as you can see, even with just focusing on driving, we almost hit what appears to be the boss's car. I really love this whole security thing. I wish that it was a bit more, a bit more dynamic, I guess. You know how sometimes on certain borders there's this whole, I guess it depends, okay, so Turkey, for example, right? On the Turkey DLC for Euro Truck Simulator 2, there's a bit at the border where you can do this whole scene that plays out, right, with cops checking, or not even necessarily cops, but border patrol checking the truck, and then you've got the dog there, and there's all these different scenes, and it keeps fading in and fading out, and it looks really bloody cool. I wouldn't mind something like that with security checks, because I love the fact that they're there already, of course, as I already mentioned, but it does feel a little bit plain at times. And I think with how intense, I don't know if intense is the right word, but with how, I guess, serious Dovetail have been, that guy scared the life out of me, by the way, pulling out like that. But with how intense and serious and just on job Dovetail. Anyway, with how on job SES have been over the years of improving their games, making them more realistic, just progressing over time very, very well with their games. I'm surprised that something like that hasn't been developed just a little bit further. I mean, ultimately, realistically, I would like to see a security guard or whoever's working at the gate actually kind of come out of the come out of the porter cabin or his little room, come to the driver's window and request some documentation, and then maybe there's a little cutscene where the driver model, I don't even know if we have a driver model in the game. Actually, we don't, do we? It's just, do we have a driver model in the game? I actually don't know. I've been playing this for the past 12 years. Well, ATS has only been out since 2016, but ATS 2 is basically the same thing. I think we do have a driver model, right? But you can only see them in third person. Yes, we do. So yeah, so it would be nice if our driver model handed over the papers and stuff. And I guess ultimately the reason why we're not seeing that right now, and the reason why we probably won't see that, is simply down to the fact that the engine can't support it, the game engine. And I was having a discussion not too long ago, but I really think with regards to serious development in terms of walking around, in terms of having having an actual body, right? Like hands that you could probably see on the wheel that you would be able to turn off. I think I would rather turn it off. But the ability to leave the truck, to walk around, to manually hitch the truck, to manually lift the what are they called? The legs, to manually lift the legs of the trailers, to manually connect the cables between the truck and the trailers, like to maybe even press all the buttons inside the cab, like you know, the bus or OMSI or Train Sim Mod style. I just don't see that all happening within this engine, and I feel a little bit conflicted about that, if I'm going to be totally honest, right? Because on the one hand, there's no doubting that the development that has progressed the way it has from the beginning of the life cycle of both American Truck Sim and Euro Truck Sim up until today has required the engine to remain kind of what it is, right? I know we've had like lighting improvements, quite drastic lighting improvements actually. I believe we've had improvements to rain. Like we have had quite engine specific changes over the years, right? But I think at the same time, and like I said, and the game has developed so much from its early days, and it's become something incredible today. But at the same time, I would love to see what I mentioned before about being able to walk around and manually do all these things, and how sick would it even be to incorporate. And I guess maybe at this time we're going towards like GTA territory, but how sick would it be to be able to pull up to like restaurants, for example, at rest stops or just within towns and cities, and actually go inside and order food and eat, you know? How sick would it be when it's time to rest, time to sleep? It is a whole thing where you can, you know, after you turn everything off, the engine, lift the steering wheel out the way, you actually go to the back of the truck, right? You go to the bed, set up your little sleeping area. Like it like to have Euro or American Truck Sim be almost like an RPG of sorts, but based solely around trucking, and the only aspects the only features that it would have other than the core driving would be things relating directly to driving. I think that would be so sick. And I don't know if I'm aiming for the stars here, but I know with Alaskan, I think it's the Alaskan Truck Simulator, which I actually haven't touched at all. I've barely watched any gameplay other than at its like very beginning of its life cycle. I think that had promise. Like I had that on my wish list for about 2 years since it was I think between it being initially announced or me seeing the announcement and the game being released, I believe it was around 2 years. And so I had it wish listed the whole time, and then it came out for some reason or another. I didn't buy it instantly, but I kept an eye on the reviews, and like I said, I watched a few gameplay videos, and man, it just wasn't great, unfortunately. I'd love to see where it is today. I'll probably, after recording this, go on Steam and sort of just check the reviews, maybe find some gameplay videos over on YouTube. But, well, I say over on YouTube, right here, I guess, on YouTube. But that game was close. Especially at the time it came out, I was still putting in hella hours into these trucking sims, specifically Euro and American. And that was really the only sim in the genre that I was ready to sacrifice those hours that I was making on those games. And, you know, I was ready and willing to put it in something new. And obviously, unfortunately, we didn't get there. But hey, it was good to hope, right? And like I said, I'm going to check it today, and hopefully the game is in a better place. But that's sort of what I kind of want to see. And I think 12 years going strong. It's been a strong 12 years, but I think it would be great, especially with how much the company has grown. I think it would be smart to maybe set aside a team. You know, I would hate for development to just cease on Euro and American Truck Sim. So I think it would be a good idea to set a team aside to kind of work on a new engine. Honestly, I'd hate to see another Unreal Engine 4 BS or some more Unity BS. Honestly, I want to see I miss when all games had their own engines. Oh, not all games, but like what made like something like a Train Sim Classic great was that it ran on its own engine. What made this sim that we're watching right now great is that it's running on its own engine. I feel like Unreal Engine 4 and Unity sometimes end up just being an obstacle to their developers, right? And so I'd love if SDS were to create a brand new engine, their own in-house engine that they could customize any way they like, allow for modding from the get-go without any ridiculous restrictions, and figure out a way that as we're entering 2025 to now create a new generation truck sim. And like I said earlier, maybe I'm aiming for the stars here, but there's no denying, I think, that something like that, like they introduced a sort of walking aspect in the garage I don't want to say some years ago. I think it was like, okay, let me just say a little while ago, because I don't remember exactly when it was brought in. So I'll say it was just a little while ago. They brought that in, and it made a little bit of a difference, and it gave us hope. It actually gave us hope that maybe on the horizon could be news of the ability to walk around. Like, the closest you can come to it now is using the free cam and floating around as if you're walking. I actually used it on my one of my car driving videos on Eurotruck. I think it was the Toyota. Was it a Toyota? I don't know. It wasn't the Mercedes G-Wagon. It was the video that came after that, and it looks kind of cool. It took some work to kind of make it look natural in terms of the speed, the height of the camera and everything, but we made it work. And I think using that because at the end of the day, all you would be is a floating camera. Like, we don't have our own body. Like I said, that would probably need a new engine. So I think they could manage a floating camera and make it seem like someone walking, right? Add a little bit of a head bob, set the right height. Yeah, I think they could do something with that. We've entered El Dorado. No, I've actually barely even spoken about the route itself. It's kind of there for you guys to see. There's not too much to report. It was a night trip. I thought I would try something. Well, no, I didn't think I would try something different. I kind of just happened to drive it at night, but I wasn't mad about it. And I kind of slowed down here to just ensure that we actually got the question mark resolved on the map. I don't really like having things unexplored. I like to have everything exposed, I guess. I don't know if exposed would be the right term, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like little McDonald's on the right. And here we are at our destination. I hope you guys have enjoyed me talking. I'm gonna be quiet while we end up the stream. Oh god. Talking of streams, twitch.tv/LWDAdnan. But no fear, I also stream here on YouTube. Had to throw in that plug and kind of like mask wherever the hell that came from. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed me talking. That's what the future videos are probably going to be, just me talking away with some driving in the background. Give me some feedback, let me know how it goes. This is different to the other ones, obviously recording it after the fact. But yeah, I feel that it's gone pretty well. Obviously your advice does matter, your feedback does matter, so thank you in advance. And yeah, as we round off, thank you very much for hanging around. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Take care of each other, take care of yourself, stay safe. Health is wealth, and until I see you on the next one, take care and peace out.